Hello everyone, I'm Gamilia Maria Elaika and I am here to discuss the lesson 14, Men and Masculinities. Learning objectives. At the end of this module, you are expected to number 1, understand fully men's studies and the constructs of masculinity. Number 2, know fully the themes of masculinity and its relationship with well-being, fathering, domestic rules, and drug and alcohol use. And number 3, comprehend hegemonic, protest, and caring masculinities. Since 1970s, studies on different aspects of manhood were made. By the 20th century, the number of these studies increased dramatically. Literature of men and masculinity focuses on a variety of topics including men's violence, fatherhood, pornography, men's crimes, female masculinity, and male femininity. Since clear dominance of men over global economic and political power is rising. Men make up a large majority of corporate executives, top economic and political power. Worldwide, men held 93% of cabinet-level posts in 1996 and most top positions in international agencies. So this focus is the clear dominance of men in global power. For example, in 1996, men held 93% of cabinet positions worldwide and led most top organizations. This shows how men have remained at the center of economic and political control, raising questions about gender equality and its impact on society. With the rise of women's liberation movement and many feminisms that have followed on from it, it produced a massive disturbance in the gender system and people's assumption about gender. Large numbers of men now acknowledge that their position is under challenge, that what they once took for granted must now be taught. This makes men's studies and masculinity became popular. The women's liberation movement and the various feminist ideas that followed have shaken long-standing beliefs about gender roles. They question the idea that men should automatically hold more power or authority. This led to a significant shift with many men realizing that their traditional rules and privileges were being challenged. As a result, men studies and the study of masculinity grow in popularity. These areas of study explore what it means to be a man in a challenging world, encouraging men to rethink their identities, rules, and relationships in society. Men's Right Lobby. One of the main founding texts of this lobby is by Warren Farrell. In 1996, his work, The Myth of Male Power, Why Are Men the Disposable Sex? Men are now the gender victim of feminism, having gone too far, with men having increased responsibilities but few rights around issues of marriage, divorce, child custody, and access to children. Modern legislation is seen to be overprotective of women's interests, resulting in discrimination against men at a time when they are under increasing threat within rapidly changing society. Some researchers argue that these pro-male movements were only a reaction to feminism, an attempt to accuse women and feminists for creating problems that men encounter in society. Warren Farrell's The Myth of Male Power argues that men face challenges in society because of feminism's influence. He claims that feminism has gone too far, giving women more rights while men deal with more responsibilities and fewer rights, especially in areas like marriage, divorce, and child custody. Farrell also says laws and policies now favor women so much that they discriminate against men. Some people think these pro-male movements are just reactions to feminism. These argue that these movements blame women and feminists for the struggle men faced rather than addressing deeper societal issues. This debate reflects how gender roles and rights are still a sensitive and evolving topic. This all meant that men's rights lobby is viewed as the men's rights movement, where it rejects the concept that men are privileged relative to women. Masculinity themes. Number 1. Multiple masculinity. There is no one pattern of masculinity that is found everywhere. Cultural views of masculinity can vary and be totally different from what we are used to. Masculinity isn't the same everywhere. Different cultures and different ideas about what it means to be a man. For example, in some places, being strong and tough might define masculinity, while in others, being gentle and caring could be seen as masculine traits. This shows that masculinity isn't fixed. It changes based on the values, traditions, and beliefs of each society. There's no single way to define what it means to be masculine, which is why we see so many variations around the world. Number 2. Hierarchy and hegemony. We equate manhood with being strong, successful, capable, reliable, and in control. Hegemonic masculinity signifies a position of cultural authority and leadership, but not total dominance as other forms of masculinity persist alongside. It embodies popular heroes, role models, and fictional characters that contain within the image of man in power, a man with power, and a man of power. Hegemonic masculinity is the idea of the ideal man in society. It represents qualities like strength, success, control, and reliability, things often seen as what a real man should be. This concept doesn't mean all men have total power, but it shows the version of masculinity that is most admired or valued. Number 3. Collective masculinity. Gender structures of a society define particular patterns of conduct of individuals as either masculine or feminine. These patterns exist at the collective level in institutions such as corporations, armies, governments, and even schools. Masculinities are also defined collectively in the workplace and in formal groups like street gangs. In sports, an aggressive kind of masculinity is created organizationally by its structure, pattern of competition, system of training, and hierarchy of levels and rewards. Masculinity isn't just about individual behavior, it is shaped by society and seen in how groups and institutions operate. In workplaces, schools, or even sports, certain behaviors are labeled as masculine. For example, in sports, being tough or aggressive is encouraged because of how the system is built. Competition, strict training, and reward for winning. These ideas about masculinity aren't just personal, they are shared and reinforced by the structures around us, like teams, organizations, or even street groups. Masculinities and well being. Research confirms a strong association between rigid norms about what it means to be a man and men's negative health practices and vulnerabilities. Men are unlikely to talk about their worries and more likely to drink and engage in other destructive behaviors when stressed. This can note evidence that contributes to suicidal behavior and depression among men. Strict emotional control serves as a barrier to health, and help-seeking behavior is detrimental to their health and that of their families. Death and disability rates related to alcohol and substance abuse are considerably higher for men than for women, making substance abuse and addiction predominantly male phenomena worldwide, according to Pine et al. 2002, World Health Organization 2004. The requirement of physical strength appears to be nearly universal component of a dominant masculinity, according to Katz 1999. The physical version of hegemonic masculinity has been promoted by globalization via films, toys, and other goods, according to Katz 2003. Family formation, fathering, caregiving, and domestic rules. Domestic rules are closely associated with women as men may have loss of face. However, research has shown that domestic roles are now taken by men. Being involved in the lives of their children brings psychological, and health benefits to men. Child development demonstrates lasting benefits to children of their father's involvement in terms of their confidence and school performance. Men may also contribute to domestic enterprise in other important ways, including through providing financial support, accompanying children inside and outside the school. Better educated men are more likely to put more time into domestic roles and caregiving. Men's schooling may have expanded their sense of norms and weakened stereotypes through their exposure to broader ideas and more diverse people. Masculinities and alcohol and drug use. More men drink than women, and men drink more than women. Studies showed that men were more likely to drink than women. Drunk alcohol is greater quality and more frequently than women, and were more likely to face alcohol-related health and social problems than women. In many settings, men's drinking encourages solidarity and stimulates courage. It is a caper group ritual as well as being a recreational activity. When men become drunk, fights and homicides are rationalized. Women are encouraged to tolerate men's drunkenness as a natural part of their being men. Drug use and drug dealing can serve as ways of constructing a powerfully masculine identity. Protest masculinity. Protest masculinity is a form of marginalized masculinity which picks up themes of hegemonic masculinity in the society at large but reworks them in a context of poverty. In other words, it is akin to hegemonic masculinity but in socially deprived contexts. Protest masculinity refers to describe instances of extreme forms of sex-type behavior on the part of some males. Caring masculinity. The concept of caring masculinity proposes that men are able to adopt what is viewed as traditionally feminine characteristics such as emotional expression, sensitivity, domestication, interdependence, and caring without departing from or rejecting the masculinity. Masculinity and men's studies have been continuously developing from its inception and up to present. These studies covered common themes of masculinities, different kinds of masculinities such as hegemonic, protest, and caring masculinities, and the other relationship of these masculinities to various aspects of life and the environment.